Balatro is everywhere. It's on your computer, on your console, on your phone, and Balatro's soundtrack is everywhere too, in covers, in YouTube videos, being played by orchestras, and even in Spotify playlists. Despite its simple appearance, Balatro has exploded in popularity over the last year, selling millions of copies, earning countless nominations, and even winning 3 awards at the 2024 Game Awards ceremony. And one of the most deceptively simple things about Balatro is its soundtrack. When thinking of great game OSTs, several come to mind. Minecraft, Undertale, Skyrim, Zelda, Hollow Knight, and on and on. Balatro has proven that it can fit snugly into that list, but there's one big difference between what I've listed in last year's acclaimed gambling simulator. Balatro only has one song. So what makes the music in Balatro so good? Or technically it's 5 songs, but they're all the same song, just different? Even the composer, Lewis F., is conflicted on the official count, but the simplest explanation is this. Balatro has one theme that seamlessly moves between a few variations. That's probably the most obvious aspect of the soundtrack. I vividly remember opening my first Celestial pack and hearing the music become muted and ethereal. I momentarily left the game behind, rocketing into space and leaving the synths and drums far below me. Yet, the central melody continued all the same. There wasn't simply a new song, rather it was the same song, evolving and shifting to match my journey into space. In most games, the music is connected to certain stages or events. Think of the twinkling mysticism of the Great Fairy Fountain in Zelda, or the reassuring harps of the Firelink Shrine in Dark Souls. Here, the music immerses you in the game world, conveying emotional and tonal information for specific areas or impactful moments. The boss theme is meant to indicate high stakes and tension, while a hub area will often opt for a more relaxing or reflective track. In this aspect, Balatro is no different. As you navigate between stages in the game, the theme morphs and adapts, but by only using one song, it's able to cunningly sidestep the biggest challenge in composing for video games: player agency. What I mean is this. If you leave the Great Fairy Fountain, for example, the theme has to immediately change, which can feel clunky, especially if a player rapidly moves between stages. Conversely, if you stick around too long, the music might get repetitive and stale. Unless it's a heavily scripted event, it's practically impossible to predict, as a developer, when and what a player might do. In other words, 2 main issues can arise in the soundtrack during gameplay due to the player. Number 1, players move between themes too quickly and immersion is broken, or number 2, players stay static and get bored by the same repetitive theme. Balatro's single-song soundtrack tackles each problem through a creative use of, firstly, timbre, and secondly, time signature. Timbre is, in simple terms, the particular quality of a sound. It's the words you might use to describe a sound: bright, haunting, or even gloopy. It's the reason why Tom York and this accordion sound distinctly different, even though they are playing the exact same note. It's also the reason why opening that first Celestial pack was so memorable, even though it's technically the same music that plays in the main menu. The drums play the same groove, the synths hold the same chords, but the timbre of the piece changes drastically. In technical terms, the Celestial theme is just the main theme, low-passed and drowned in reverb. But the effect is that it sounds, well, spacey. There are 4 variations on the main theme in total, one for the shop, one for the Arcana and Celestial packs each, and one for the boss blinds. And each variation plays with the timbre in some way, whether it's a subtle change in the melody line, like in the shop theme, or a total sonic shift, like in the Celestial theme. Because there's only one theme, you'll never hear an awkward transition in the music. The immersion isn't broken. Yet, Balatro is still able to have area-specific soundscapes, just like Zelda or Dark Souls, that react to player input, all through the use of timbre. But now consider the opposite scenario, a player who stays in one place for too long. The player on Anti-8, boss blind, one hand left, and they've got a calculator out, the Balatro wiki on the other monitor, double and triple checking whether this flush or full house will push them over the finish line. They might hear the same theme for minutes on end in this situation. If you only have one song, how do you keep players interested? Well, the answer is time signature. There are a lot of answers actually, but time signature is the big one here. In musical parlance, a time signature describes how many beats fit in a musical bar or measure. For example, 4/4 is the most common time signature. It's practically everywhere, from Taylor Swift to Tool.
Saying this is it, I've had enough. It's like we haven't seen each other in a month. When you...
Now, if you're not familiar with time signatures, the top number tells us how many beats there are. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Balatro, however, is in 7/4, which is odd. I mean, it's literally odd, but it's also an uncommon time signature as well. It's easy to let that fact slip by when listening absently, but try and count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So why choose an odd time signature? And why, if it's so odd, does it melt so nicely into the background? Well, it's really subtle, but the Balatro theme is actually using our subconscious expectations to its advantage. 4/4, as mentioned, is the most common time signature, at least in the Western world. It's the default, it's what we all expect, and Balatro knows that. The theme doesn't really feel like 7/4. You wouldn't count to 7, even though we just did. It feels more like 4/4, but with a beat missing. Here's what I mean. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. The second bar feels like it's cut off too early, like we've skipped a beat. It has a spiraling quality to it, a sense of perpetuation. And that's exactly why the music stays fresh, even 300 hours into the game. It's close enough to normal that it doesn't feel jarring, but to our subconscious ear, the music is always shifting and evolving, never quite landing where you expect it to. And the thing about all this is, Balatro's theme isn't just an incredible achievement in music alone. It's also a perfect accompaniment to the game's design philosophies. Genre-wise, Balatro is a roguelike. You begin each run of the game essentially from scratch, and the end of a run is inevitably a fail state, whether that's at Ante-2 or Ante-8. Repetition is baked into the game, unavoidably. The best roguelikes are able to encourage players to continue playing even through the discouragement of failed runs, and that's something Balatro achieves with ease. Not only does the soundtrack remove the common qualities that might break a player's focus or immersion, but it also manages to encourage players to keep playing after failing. In fact, the spiraling quality of the 7/4 time signature does just that. The style of Balatro's theme also helps here. The song is relatively slow in terms of BPM, with a mellow, hazy feel to it. By keeping this single theme playing over the game's entirety, with no peaks or dips in compositional tension, the game eliminates the sense of urgency that typically comes with reaching a boss or the end of a run in another game. Wins and losses aren't musically emphasized, and so they become less remarkable, even mundane. A loss, while unfortunate, is rarely actually frustrating in Balatro, making the idea of starting a new run much more palatable. But interestingly enough, Balatro's soundtrack still includes musical differentiation based on areas and events. As I examined earlier, Balatro does this through changes in timbre rather than actual song differences or compositional differences. While each variation is distinct, I would categorize them into two main groups. The main and boss blind in one, shop, arcana, and celestial in the other. The first group is reserved for the gameplay portions of the game, so to speak, when you are actually in a blind and creating or playing hands. Here, the melody comes out more prominently. The second group then is dedicated to moments outside of the blinds, when you are choosing items from the shop or opening packs. In these cases, the main melody fades further into the background, and the backing chords and drums come to the forefront. The effect of this is that a musical binary is created, clearly separating moments of contemplation and moments of motivation. The music in the blinds emphasizes the melody, and so is more noticeable, acting as a driving force for the player. Alternatively, music outside of the blinds is more calm, allowing players to collect their thoughts and carefully read what each card does. The idea of musical binaries isn't uncommon in video games. From Software's Souls games do this by playing music only in boss battles or hub areas, lending a great sense of emotional climax or release, respectively, to player experiences. Hotline Miami does something similar, incessantly playing fast-paced techno to encourage players to be aggressive and reckless in gameplay, only to abruptly stop the music at the end of each level and force you to walk through the carnage you've created with a haunting ambient track in the background, which is a choice that feeds into the game's commentary on gratuitous violence in media. Even the general concept of tonally differentiating combat music and exploration music is a kind of binary, and this is a technique used in countless titles. Again, in this regard, Balatro isn't unique, but rather another in a long list of notable examples. Musical binaries are all over the place in gaming, but combined with all the other effects Balatro's seemingly simple soundtrack manages to achieve, this game's music becomes something truly worthy of praise. So that's why Balatro's music is so good. Of course, music is music. Like all arts, there is no one particular thing that makes a great piece of music great. We could sit here all day and analyze the entire Balatro theme note for note, but there's always going to be some ineffable quality to it. People just like the song. However, these things I've discussed are the main reasons for the soundtrack's undeniable success, in the sense of its smooth integration into Balatro's design and flow state factor, at least. And so with that, I'd just like to say thank you all for watching this video. If you'd like to see more videos in the future, please do like the video, subscribe, and share it to your friends so that we can grow this channel. As I always say, these videos are hard to make, and I really appreciate the support. On another note, hey, it's been a while. A year is a long time, but it's good to be back, and I'm hoping to try to be a little more consistent with uploads going forward. Anyways, that's all I have for you all today. Hopefully you learned something, and hopefully you're having a good day today. If you're not, I hope that this video helps you on the journey to making it a better one. I will be seeing you all in the next video, but until then, goodbye.